Welcome back. This is Daybreak, and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. We are now joined by Angel Mbodhia. She is the chairperson of the Jubilee Youth League. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning, Ayub.
Thanks for finding time. And Kimani Patrick is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kalistic Group Limited. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning.
Thanks for your time.
Asante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's now focus on the main theme of the day. It's about jobs for young people, of course, you, and the millions of young Kenyans who form a large majority of the population, but still feel sidelined. But then, how do technological platforms, in this view, coming to you first, Kimani Patrick, offer the much-needed support in terms of job creation? And can the young people leverage on these platforms?
The truth of the matter is technological platforms provide jobs. If you look at me today and Macharia here, and quite a lot of youth, especially all of us who are here, we have utilized technology, all these platforms, starting with basic things such as social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that is X, and LinkedIn, to advance our personal brands, and at the same time looking for clients. For people who are in the marketing communication space and tech like Macharia, we use these platforms to look for clients. And young people all over the country and all over the world use the same platforms to be able to talk about who they are, what they are capable of, looking for opportunities that are there, either it's jobs, freelancing opportunities, and to be able to push themselves at their agenda to be able to earn a living. So yes, technological platforms provide an avenue in which youth can be able to advance themselves first, secondly to communicate and to be able to build their personal brands, and then the third thing is to be able to reap from it, and that is earn a living either by getting a job, getting a contract, or be able to provide value that in turn brings financial value to themselves.
Okay. Angel, coming to you, does then the paradigm shift, is it the paradigm shift for young Kenyans now to focus on themselves, the intercommunication needed? There were many calls to the policymakers, but there seems to be no elaborate feedback in terms of job creation, opportunities, and for the young people to thrive. That's why a large chunk of young Kenyans feel they are sidelined by the government. But does this offer them with a platform for paradigm shift to turn away attention from white-collar jobs and be job created themselves, and also earn money from such platforms and support their living?
Ayub, from a personal perspective, I am an advisor. I sit in the advisory committee of the Dutch government, and we provide the advisory on their foreign policy. And this does not necessitate me to be in Amsterdam or in The Hague to be there to provide advisory services to the Dutch government. This is a platform that I've used, and it's majorly online, where I am able to conduct research and give policy advice to the Dutch government. That's one aspect that I have come to appreciate technology with, that I'm still able to be here in Nairobi, and as and when need, and on a need cases basis, then I'm able to go there and do a few things that are needed physically. And then on the other hand, I graduated with my master's in December, and my program entirely was virtual. So I was able to do many other things and still be able to attend my classes. So digital platforms are the way to go for Kenya. And one thing I'd appreciate is looking at our times as Kenya. Since 2007 is when we started to see a lot of digital transformation, especially with Kenyans starting to embrace mobile money networks. That way, the country was able to put even the most vulnerable or the most marginalized or the ones with even very low incomes to be able to have access to financing through mobile banking. And that has revolutionized and created more opportunities, has created a more stable network in the business environment. Yeah. So I see a lot of opportunities in the digital space. What we've not done is it's not as regulated as it should be, because we've seen a few mishaps here and there where maybe, for example, you can send money to the wrong person and you're not able to reverse that money, or there are some of the things that we are now trying to understand as we move on. But what I see the danger in digital jobs is that some of the ones that we are talking about, because there are so many aspects of digital jobs, there's the academic writing, there's coding, there's website development. Some of these jobs are not sustainable. Because I'm working online and I am able to monitor CCTV cameras for a supermarket somewhere in New York, then I'm given my $20 per hour. That does not guarantee me what to do do in the next 5 years. So there's a lot of training and development that needs to be done in the digital space. And I'd ask the government to leverage on institutions like COMESA that are very big on working on trade in the continent, and to leverage on the AFTA agreement that really has the frameworks of how young people can plug into the digital space. These are some of the institutions that need to be present in our schools. And I'm not talking about universities alone. I'm talking about even high schools and primary schools, because digital devices can be used by children from the age of 5 to beyond. So we cannot even say that we're going to limit it to those who are in universities and TVETs or in colleges, because they have access to digital devices. Now, the other thing we also get to look at is the digital infrastructure that we have in this country.
Okay.
Our former president did a great job with his colleague, CS Joe Musheru, by putting up a very good infrastructure across the country. Now, what you see today is that Kenya has the lowest digital data costs across even the continent. Because you see in places like South Sudan, 1 GB of data is 5 USD, which is about 800 shillings. Here in Kenya, 1 GB, you can get it for as low as at 100 shillings, which is less than 1 USD. Even in places like South Africa, even in places like Nigeria, you'll see that 1 GB of data costs about 200 or 300 shillings going above and beyond. And then now when you look at the aspect of things like electric connection, we know that our former president did more than all the other presidents combined. But now, even as we are trying to leap forward from where we are today, there's a lot of investment that needs to be made in the digital space to ensure that young people are able to, grow beyond where they are. Yeah. Because one of our biggest competitors is not even in Africa in terms of the digital space, are the countries in Asia. They're the ones that have really invested in their digital space, infrastructure, investments, and training. So they are our competitors. There's an opportunity in the digital space, and Kenya really stands a great chance at becoming very excellent in that environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maina, taking off from where Angela's left, in your manifesto, the United Democratic Alliance Party also talked about the extension of 100,000 fiber optic cable across the country, Wi-Fi hotspots for the generation of money, and help ease the business dealings by the mamambogas at market centers across the country. And also she talks about the question of accessibility. All this combined will definitely create infrastructure model that the youth can thrive on. But how will the youth tap into this available opportunity then? There seems to be the lack of appetite towards this, and I'm more or less waiting for employment opportunities, especially from the government. Why not leverage on these platforms?
Yeah, what I can say, Ayub, as a government, we are in line with what we promised. I have to say that the last 1 year, we have been able to train 390,000 youths on our digital skills. We have created 120,000 digital jobs in the year that just ended. And so far, we have had you speak of the fiber optics. We have been able to construct 8,400 kilometers of fiber optics in the country. I have to say that so we are doing so much. It's only that we are now trying to project to the people what we are doing. We are not a government that is so much invested on PR. We are a government that is working. And I have to say these numbers actually contributed to the 7.3% growth of the ICT sector compared to the national economic growth of the year 2023. So you see the ICT sector is actually ahead of the average national economic growth. So we understand that the kind of economic growth that we projected as a government, or as a team, as a political team, when we were vying for the political seats, can only be achieved if we invest so much into the technology. And that's why this government is committed to ensure that we develop ICT hubs at the ward level.
Yeah.
That means that young people can actually be able to access the physical infrastructure and also the technological investment that will be brought in those ICT hubs that will be built at the ward level, so that they can have a space where they can utilize their skills. They can have a space where they can even develop various innovations that they might be having. So this is a government that is really trying to empower young people towards that space. We know, and that's why the president, I have been seeing very many videos online of people making fun of the statements that the president have made around the digital space. But the fact that we are having that conversation, Ayub, for the first time in our independence Kenya, it means that we are in the right track. In fact, the irony is that the people who are making these videos are actually making dollars through these videos that they are making. Even much as they are trying to poke holes within the statements that have been made. The fact is that those very video, they are monetizing those videos. And I like the space. I like the fact that we are having this conversation, and it is the people that we are having in this space, in this interview. Macharia, Patrick, Kimani, my good friend Edna, and
Victor.
The fact that we are having these people is actually a testament that there are digital jobs, or there are jobs in the digital space. And I think as a government, I want to challenge the Ministry of ICT that they need to create more sensitization, that we change the mindset that we don't have to necessarily be looking for jobs within the public space or the traditional white-collar jobs, but we can create jobs even in the digital space. In fact, Ayub, apart from my space of East Africa Legislative Assembly, I'm actually working towards acquiring skills, so that the kind of website that I've been hearing that people can be making dollars out of them. I can also be part of the people who are making dollars there. So that when I'm coming to this space, I can be testifying. Go to this particular website, and you're going to earn because myself I'm earning there. Thank you.
Edna, coming to you. We talked about infrastructure. We talked about the cost of data, the question of accessibility. I'll come to you, Macharia, Patrick, as well, and Victor. Is there then the commensurate awareness and the campaign to educate young Kenyans on how to use and some of the pitfalls to avoid for the cases of, say, for example, cybersecurity aspects?
I believe there is a lot of material to educate the youth about all these available opportunities, like in cybersecurity. For example, if you go to the internet, you'll be able to find something pop up that is telling you you can do this online, you can learn that online. And the internet provides a wide variety of opportunities where someone can self-learn on what opportunities are available. So the internet gives you all access to this material where you're able to tap into something. And also the organizations that are training people on these things.
Victor, how is the training going vis-a-vis the growth in terms of the opening up of the ICT infrastructure? I mean, if you look at the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, it's big on investing in the ICT system. Angel talked about the investments made in by the previous government. I mean, despite the differences in terms of what we had with regards to policy positions from the previous government, they seem to be having a common thread when it comes to investment in the ICT sector. And when can the young people understand the importance of this, one? And two, is the speed of training and awareness vis-a-vis the growth of the ICT infrastructure system in Kenya in parallel, or it's one which is outweighing the other? And then how can we balance this up?
Thank you very much for that question. For the record, there's one thing that really amazes me, especially when government officials come to Kenyans and they got big numbers, you know. But when you go to the ground, sincerely, Kenyans are asking where are you getting these numbers from? In 100% of the time, Kenyans will tell you that we're not seeing this number these people are quoting. And so, one thing I would also like to let Kenyans know when we talk about the IT infrastructure, for example, I think the Kenya Kwanza administration was a very lucky administration. Our president was one of the luckiest presidents among all the presidents that have been in this country before. One, because when we talk about the infrastructure, we're talking about the Peace submarine fiber cable that was just launched the other day in 2022. That was the previous regime, whereby it was actually done by the previous president, President Ruto Kenyatta. It was a collaboration between the government and Telecom Kenya. We're talking about an infrastructure that is 15,000 kilometers long. We're talking about an infrastructure that gives you 200 gigabytes of data per second per wavelength. I don't think if Kenyans understand how fast that is and how powerful that is, connecting Asia, connecting East Africa, and connecting Europe, for example. So I think in terms of infrastructure, the previous government did enough. I think the current government just need to work on implementation process. And that's where I think the problem is. I think there's no much in terms of implementation. We're quoting numbers, but I'm not seeing where these numbers are coming from. We're talking of having ICT hubs in every ward. I'm not seeing these ICT hubs in every ward. But at what level of accessibility are Kenyans able to walk into these ICT hubs and access them freely? You ask Kenyans, I mean, some of them are even afraid to approach these hubs that we're talking about. You go to my village in Usenge, in Bondo, we don't have such a thing. In fact, if you ask people if they've ever heard of an ICT hub, they think probably it's just a jargon that is being used by ICT professionals to hoodwink them so that they can be able to join some sites to make free money. So I think for the record, whenever government officials communicate to us, they need to give us where are they getting these numbers from. The Kenyan youth comprises of around 29% of the population, in which 40% are unemployed. Okay. When I talk about unemployment, some of them don't even have the basic resources that we quote here, like just a basic mobile phone to access internet. They don't have it. I'm happy that the government is coming up with ways. I wouldn't want also to criticize before I improvise, because I've seen projects whereby the government's coming up with ways to produce cheap mobile phones so that Kenyans are be able to get online. These are 4G mobile phones which will be able to have the accessibility to 5G also. So I think in terms of training, we've not sensitized enough for Kenyans to be able to understand where these resources, they can be able to get them. We've not given Kenyans an opportunity to access these resources because they don't even know, they're not aware that they are there. It was a well-thought process, a well-thought program, but I think the implementation part of it is wrong. Okay. When we talk about having, let's say, for example, Wi-Fi hotspot, my friend Angel here has really mentioned on Wi-Fi hotspots and how this thing is revolutionizing the Kenyan youth and the Kenyan IT system at large. I think it was also a well-thought process, but why do we have to go and put Wi-Fi hotspot in marketplaces? What level of security are we giving to Kenyans whenever they access these public Wi-Fi hotspots? We have schools, like in my constituency in Bondo, we have schools there that these things can be able to be put there because the mentality itself has to change. Whenever we put this thing in marketplaces, at what time are people supposed to work and access them? Okay. Let's have this.
How about for trading purposes? If we are to digitize, why not target then, say, for example, the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid? If we produce cheap phones and they can access that, if we give them the internet, does it not enable business in terms of transaction?
It enables business in terms of transactions, but are we assuring Kenyans of the security purposes, or rather, are Kenyans secure when they access these public Wi-Fi hotspots? Okay. In terms of security, I don't think we are doing much, and that's why 100% of the time you hear people complaining about them being hacked or their data has been infringed one way or the other. So I think the process is okay. It was a well-thought process, but I think the implementation part was wrong, and there has not been enough sensitization to protect Kenyans against any other flaw that may come with it.
Mashare, coming to you. When you look at the progress that we have made from the previous government to this government, that all who are seeking, officials who are seeking to leverage and use this ICT infrastructure to tap on young Kenyans in terms of the employment, is there a well thought out security guarantees and measures to that effect that can stave off, for example, people who are not knowledgeable and stave them off from the risk of accessing sites that might lead to cybersecurity incidents, which of course will be of detriment to them?
Thank you, Aib. First, I would like to reply to my friend Maina on the issue. He said he seems to be protecting the government, that it's not working at all right now.
Ayub, I'm not protecting the government. These are statements. These are facts. That are.
I'll give you the right to reply. So let him finish.
Most of the issues he's saying the government is doing is not actually doing, but I understand it's his work to protect
Well, he's in his capacity as an MP and as a young Kenyan. We did invite him in such capacity.
Yeah. And I know he's doing his work, because right now, if the government is promising water and drinking wine. So I don't think that is working for Kenya, because they are promising jobs abroad. We are seeing our president moving from country to country looking for jobs, and they're saying they're looking for jobs for Kenyans. But what is happening at Nyayo House? There are no passports. If you apply for passport, there are no booklets to print passports. So how will you travel to Israel, for example, if in case you get a job? The number two thing is they are promising these ICT hubs. And from my experience in the ICT industry, I know this is a long-term game. If you want to get into ICT, it's a long-term game. You can't just come there and start making dollars the way he's saying. So you have to invest time. Number one, you have to learn. For example, let's say there are so many opportunities. You can do forex trading, you can do crypto, you can do online writing, you can do any freelance job, even call center jobs, but you have to invest time on it. For example, you can invest even up to 1 year before you master that trade you're doing. For example, if you want to do forex, trust me, you'll not be able to go today and train for 1 week and be able to make money using through forex trading. So it's a long-term game when you want to get into that kind of environment. So I don't think whatever they are saying, they are just mentioning words because they know the Mamambogas who voted for them are not able to get the facts from the government. That's why he's mentioning numbers that we can be able even to trace. But on a real perspective, from an employer perspective, because I'm an employer, I run a recruitment firm, I know what is happening behind the scenes. Leave even the passport alone. Right now, if you lose your ID, you take more than a month to replace it because the government is not working. The processes have been issues when dealing with that. That's why I'm saying this government is... I was asking if there are any systems in place in this government, but he decided to overlook that question. Okay,
on the question of the promise then, with regards to the Wi-Fi hotspots that the ICTCS Eliud Owalo has mentioned, in terms of verification then, for example, what level of connections were done? In your view, is it zero or some work was done by the government?
So for me, from a NIT's perspective, I think it's upon Kenyans to take caution upon themselves. It's not just because of this government or the previous government, but this has been a trend. Because you see, Kenyan data policy is not very secured, because you'll find even when you are getting to an office, you leave your ID number, your phone number, and then these people collect the data and they go use them in some other malicious ways. So I think we need to put some more measures in the ICT sector to make sure Kenyans are more protected and their data is secure. Okay,
Kimani Patrick, coming to you. Yes. When we had the request for Kenyans to come forth, you all witnessed what happened at the KICC, WorldCoin, where people were giving away data, their eyes were scanned, and that's so concerning, is it, in the contemporary world where data is becoming the tool, for example, for trade, and it's critical added advantage to how the world is transacting its business. What are the safeguards, and what safeguards do you think should be put in place to safeguard also, as well as much as the young Kenyans are seeking to use this ICT infrastructure, to also safeguard their data and the question of privacy? How does it come in?
Well, I would not really want to focus so much on the policy aspect, but this is what I would love to say. If I do not have food and I do not have rent, why should I care about my data? I mean, that is a key question that we all ask ourselves, because those Kenyans you saw queuing for the few coins that they were being given, they were doing so because they didn't have food and they didn't have the basic needs that are required for human survival. And that is what most young people are facing. You went to campus, you came to the University of Nairobi or Kenyatta University or any other public university, you are government funded, you are given help, you are given bursary by your area MP or governor, and you are able to go through school, and you cleared, and now you're living somewhere in a bedsitter with a couple of your friends, struggling to raise rent, all of you. And when you get an opportunity to get a coin, even if that means transacting it with your personal information, you'll definitely go for it. And so what I believe is we need to educate Kenyans, especially young Kenyans, how to be more proactive. I was looking just at my phone. We all know of Ajira Digital, which was launched in 2016. And I'm just looking at basic skills that are on demand right now. There is graphic design and there is search engine optimization. In as much as what Ajira Digital is offering training online is not so advanced, I'm looking at it right now on the portal. They have a class starting on 12th. That is next week on Monday. Yeah. For the search engine optimization, which Macharia will tell you, if you do search engine optimization for any organization, even the smallest, the minimum amount you will charge is 15,000. And that is enough to feed you and to pay for your rent. They have 537 available slots for training. And this is free training. Total enrolled is 113. For the graphic design courses, they have available slots, 501, and only 149 have been taken. And I can guarantee you, there is so many other data entry, digital marketing, and e-commerce, which is also something which is on the trend right now, and you can be able to get a job very quickly. I can see for digital marketing, they have 59 slots, but this one has been oversubscribed because you have 61 students who have enrolled. So you'll find opportunities are there to learn, because most young Kenyans have a fixated mindset. Because I went to the university and studied computer science, or I went and studied medicine, and now since I can't find a job as a medic, I just have to sit there and pray and complain on the internet that there are no jobs. Instead of just going on the internet, look at what has been provided, either by the government or free courses. There's so many courses. If you look at any digital platform today, especially the social media companies, each of them, when you look at Meta, when you look at Google, when you look at LinkedIn, they all have learning platforms. They offer skills where you can be able to learn and be able to utilize their platforms to make money. That is, to be able to build your own profile, that is market-wise, or to be able to market your company or other people's businesses. And these are skills you can be able to learn for free. But what you find is these young Kenyans, not all of them, but just quite a number that are very loud, they will use the data that they have. Data is costing, go to Safaricom right now, you will be able to get 1 GB of data for 10 shillings that you can be able to use for 1 hour. Instead of using that data to go and learn, and then be able to build a good platform, a good profile of themselves, and be able to communicate the value that they can be able to bring. They're using that data to go on TikTok, to just check who is dancing, with style, or to go on Facebook, or to go on Next to complain. While other people, like the ones who are here, are using those platforms to just go and build themselves and showcase who they are and what they're able to offer. So I believe there is quite a lot that has been done. Instead of just sitting and complaining, it is using the time that you have, the resources that are there, to be able to upskill yourself and to be able to communicate. Because if you look at the search engine optimization course that I've just mentioned, when you look at social media management, I mean, Ayub, in as much as you have access to your social media and you can be able to tweet and do Facebook and all that, you wouldn't mind if a young student comes and helps you to be able to be consistent in your content, right? And you'll be able to pay them 10,000, 50,000 a month, and they will be able to have an upkeep. And there's so many other people out here, business people, politicians, who do not have enough time to be able to curate good content and to be able to come up with a storytelling plan for their digital platforms. And those are available opportunities that these people can harness and be able to, earn a living. And this does not require so much technical skills such as AI. I mean, it's something basic you can be able to do even if you just reached class 8. As long as you can read and write and you have a smartphone, you can do it.
Angel, Kimani points a very critical aspect of this discussion, the question of interest, the question of creativity, and the question of the ambition that ought not to be forthcoming from the young people themselves. For example, he mentions out of the possible 500 slots, only 113 have expressed interest. The other out of 501, only 149. This is appalling, is it, from the part of young Kenyans as well?
Ayub, I'd like to say that the youth of this country have been very diligent in their quest for education. And for them to have gone through an 844 system and now being told that now we have other alternatives that we need you to get into is sort of a sorry, sad state of affairs. I think Mr. Ruto tends to do a lot of, to do the right thing at the wrong time. Because even when you look at his motivations today, when you look at the cost of electricity, this morning I bought power tokens worth 2,000 shillings and I only got 70 units. So I can, and 1 year ago I was getting about 54 units for 1,000 Kenya shillings. Now that cost of electricity alone discourages me from these online platforms that I'm looking into. And if you're supposed to go through a training like let's say on Nigeria, 1 GB of data is not enough. If you're supposed to stream through a class, you're going to need more than that. And that again goes back into your pocket. And then I look at Mr. Ruto in the proposed finance bill of 2023. He was imagining taxing Kenyans about 15% from digital content. When you tax me from an infrastructure that you have not invested in is quite discouraging, because when you look at what young people have done for themselves so far, and when they're interviewed on TV and they talk about how they've been able to penetrate the digital space and earn their own money, it's because of the alternatives that they are looking for. When we see New York Times telling the whole world that Kenyans are doing exams and academic papers for students in America, then you know the resolve the young people of this country have. They are not lazy, they are looking for opportunities. And you cannot tell a lawyer who has graduated from the university and tell them to go and start working on e-commerce, go through a whole class. They want to go into that place and system right now. So when you tell them that you're going to tax them 15%, which of course was reviewed 5%, and of course we're all foreseeing that will be in the proposed bill for finance bill for 2024, then you wonder where are the young people of this country going to turn to? Because one thing that we also need to look at is that if the president can stop focusing on the politics of the day and just focus on minding his business on his official desk that the people of Kenya purportedly elected him to, would really transform this country. When he makes roadside declarations of saying there will be hotspots in marketplaces in the country, where are they? Because even if the president came here and told me, Angel, I'm giving you a job, that will not mean anything unless it is put down on paper. When you talk about ICT hubs across the country in different wards, how are we going to power those ICT hubs if in our own households we are not even able to maintain the kind of supply of electricity that we've had over the years? There's a lot that needs to go into the governance space of the digital space. We need to improve that sector because there's a lot of opportunities. I see the opportunity for women who are working at home, who are nursing mothers, who really are disturbed by the day-to-day office works of 8 to 5 and have children and have other things to take care of. Women are really set to benefit a lot in the digital space and in the world of digital job. When you look at our friends who are here in the country, when you look at the US, one of their main economic pillars is to have Kenya as a silicon savannah. Okay. Where we have the Silicon Valley in the US, they want to support Kenya to become a silicon savannah. But is the president really looking at that? Is
it an issue about only President Ruto or consistency in policies towards that industry or sector? Because I believe that the length at which the current president can serve is, say, for example, if his mandate is renewed by the people up to 2032. Yes. I mean, is it not important we look beyond the player and play the ball, because it's for perpetuity, it's for the future, is it?
Well, my friend Victor here talked about things that the young people are doing already, and what the president can do right now and what has already been done by the previous president. And I think we can really leverage on that, because the digital space is very easy to work with. It is virtual. So when you make things available, like now, right now, when you talk about what you need to access digital schools or digital classes, you need a laptop. And a laptop now, we don't manufacture laptops in Kenya. We import them. That means that you're going to purchase it at a dollar rate. What are you seeing about the dollar in relationship to the shilling? So there's a lot of economics to do with it, and we cannot ignore the politics around that economy.
Okay. Maina, coming to you. The aspect about the point of convergence of what's provided for, what's there for the young people, the accessibility questions, the challenges that Angela has mentioned, and also the intention and the ambition that ought to be forthcoming from young Kenyans. How will these three key pillars balance out?
Let me say that, Ayub, as we speak here, yesterday, the State Department of Labor and Skills Development actually advertised the National Online Work Readiness Training Program. And they are working in hard with the State Department of ICT. And I'm happy my good friend Patrick has actually gone to the extent of even going to the Ajira program, because the program will be implemented by the Ajira agency. So, Ayub, I think that gap that you are saying will be bridged by some of these training programs that the government is enrolling. And I've told you, Ayub, in 2023, we were able to train 390 youths on the digital jobs, or on the digital skills. I think, Ayub, these skills are the ones that are going to bridge the gap between what you are talking of, the ambition that we have as a people, and also the economic ambition that as an individual you have. Some of the statements or the numbers that I'm quoting here, I want to tell my colleague in this panel, Masharia and Victor, they are not made by Maina Karobia. They are things that you can quantify, and I've seen the government spokesperson speak in length. I've seen the Minister for the Public Service Delivery has been conducting public shows within the ministries, or the road shows within the ministries, and I think these are the numbers are, because a ministry cannot over project what they have achieved, because the numbers that they are mentioning are actually going to help us in policy planning and also budget planning over in the next financial year and even this particular financial year. So the numbers that we are mentioning actually exist. You know, a digital job, you cannot touch it. It's not like the way we are saying that we have already employed 55,000 teachers. Those ones you can go and touch, that in this school we have employed this person. In this school we have employed this person. But a digital job is not something that Victor can wake up and touch, that this job was created by this government. So that's why he is asking about where can I go and get this person who was employed by this job or in this job. So that's why I wanted to mention that. On the issue of why we are installing this the hubs. And
the Wi-Fi hotspots.
The Wi-Fi hotspots in the market. In fact, forget about even the hubs. Wi-Fi hotspots within markets is actually a campaign promise that was given in this by this administration. I remember the initial thought of this Wi-Fi hotspot is the thinking is that if I, as Mama Mboga, I want to sell my product, I don't have to wait for Jumia to be selling my product so that I can my product can go out there. I can actually market my product by having accessed the internet that is being provided by government. And I want to say this, Ayub, we are projecting by the end of this year, of 2024, we will have installed 5,000 hotspots across the country. And this is a commitment that the Ministry of ICT has made. And I think we look forward to this projection to be, or this commitment to be achieved. I think what Patrick has, I like what Patrick has raised here, and it is actually, it goes around to show that, in fact, he is not only mentioning, but he is actually going to his phone to actually confirm some of these programs that the government is rolling out to train people.
But is it not concerning then that if you look at the number of, and because he, besides the opportunities available that he had detailed,
yes.
For example, it's only paltry 10% of the required 500, more than 1,000 requirements that ought to have been made, or submissions to that effect made, had applied from the youth. I mean,
yeah, actually,
concerning.
Yeah, and that's why in my earlier submission I said I want to challenge the relevant ministries to actually conduct sensitization. And on this case, I want to be very particular, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. They need to go forward and sensitize the people in the grassroots. And we should be tracing the national administration right from the sub-chief onwards up to the regional commissioner. They should be sensitizing young people in our grassroots to go and enroll in these programs. Because apart from the politicians who can be doing the sensitization around these programs that the government is offering, the national administration can also be a good platform upon which we can sensitize the public on the opportunities that the government is offering on the digital space.
Okay. Edna, yes, you have a point. Please proceed. Okay, yes, Victor, I'll come to you. Yes, Victor, you have a point.
All right. So thank you for mentioning that. I did not per se actually claim or rather make assumptions that they need to come up with a number of digital jobs that are already available or that have already been created by the government. I was just trying to caution, because when you come up with the numbers, it means that you may be able to quantify those numbers. You cannot just come up with numbers and you can't mention specifically where you're getting these numbers from. And that's why I said it's as simple as saying the mindset of the youth has already shifted. And the youth have been able to come out strongly to believe that they can be able to do even without the government. And that's why when Angel said that the youth are already doing enough, we can't blame the youth and say that they're lazy, they're sitting behind. I've seen so many youths going out of their way to make sure that what is expected of them is actually achieved. And whenever we come to this kind of platforms and we talk about youth as not doing much that they are supposed to be doing, and you quote numbers from Ajira Digital, the number of space or other slots that are available that the youth are not taking, you should ask yourself, how come you are giving people free education, you give them free platform to learn, you give them free platforms to be able to earn a living, but they're not utilizing it. But when you come up with things like WorldCoin and the rest, they be rushing there. Most of those people whose data were being taken by the WorldCoin thing, they were not illiterate people. A good number of these people are people going to school. They're university students. Some are still in school from reputable universities. These people are just hungry. It's not an issue of being lazy. It's not an issue of not understanding what is happening. Everybody understand what is happening. And that's why I said we have to come out boldly as a government and talk to these young people in a language that they will be able to understand. Because you cannot say that we're going to give you jobs, but those jobs are not available. Okay. And when you go to, you tell these youth that you can go to construction sites and you can do mjengo in whatever way possible. I mean, this is someone who invested in school to sincerely.
And talking about that, on the 7th of February, today is 8th? 9th, yeah. The government had advertised in a move that seeks to empower Kenyans to access online government services, enhance e-commerce, improve their general knowledge of information, security and registration. This was by Stanley Kamanguya, the Chief Executive Officer of the ICT Authority, who called on Kenyans to take advantage of the registration window and ensure they have registered to acquire skills on digital skills, for that matter, in order to bridge the skill required in the digital space. Edna, coming to you, besides Ajira, there seems to be other opportunities for young Kenyans. And the complaint has been long in series of talking about neglected by the government, talking about lack of opportunities, graduates from universities. But again, how can such opportunities be leveraged upon to support their cause in terms of the economy and feeling the value of the shilling in their pocket, not depending all the times on jobs that are not forthcoming or in reality do not exist?
Okay, besides the jobs that are provided by the government, we have organizations like our organization, Inua AI. We work with companies in America where we provide workforce for them. So in Kenya, for example, we have about 120 people who are all attached to different companies in the US. So youth can leverage on other organizations, not entirely depending on what the government is offering, and see who else is offering something out there. Because these organizations are also training people. Besides the training you'll get from Ajira, you can also get training from an organization, and they'll be able to position you in a place where you'll be able to get employment.
All right, Macharia, besides Ajira, this is another opportunity that the ICT authority is calling upon young Kenyans to get the digital skills required and needed. Is this not, and what Patrick also mentioned, the point of economic emancipation by young Kenyans, to now realize that there exist opportunities, and this becoming their point of understanding and having the conscience that indeed there was a degree of sidelining from the government when it comes to absorption, of course, which doesn't happen all the time, because the government can provide stability, and also areas where it can only stabilize issues around policy frameworks and regulatory issues, so that the job market will be able to absorb the graduates from the market, including the private sector from universities. I mean, how will this then be the enabler for them to get the digital skills, as you did, all of you here, in order to prosper in life?
So my slogan in life is to the youth is always to drive to be entrepreneurs, because these jobs you are seeking for, they are not available per se, but if you brand yourself very well, especially when in campus, you'll be able to create a very good and strong brand, and that brand will help you the whole of your life. It's not like getting employed whereby you have to retire when you're 65. When you brand yourself, you retire when you die. So that's why I tell you to brand themselves and become entrepreneurs. So the question you asked about the platforms, we have so many platforms whereby you can get these jobs. Like the other day, our president was saying, finya computer upate dollars. It's true, you can press computer and get dollars, but this is about persistence. It's not a one-day event. You have to invest time to learn fast, to craft the number one, you have to choose what you want to focus on. Let's say you choose Forex. Let's say you choose crypto. But I believe most youth right now, they think these things are scams, but they are not scams when you train yourself how to do them. So, for example, let's say you stick to Forex trading. You have to choose what area you want to focus on. You have to master it, and then you have to brand yourself in line to it, and then give yourself a minimum of 1 year to master this, because you know there is this rule of 10,000 hours. Yeah. You can't become an expert in something unless you have trained for it for over 10 years, 10,000 hours. So master it at minimum of 1 year, and then you'll be able now to earn income from it. So on that issue, I support the president because of saying that, because that's an enlightenment to this youth, because most of them have come out of this culture of go to school, get good grades, move out, get employed, become a lawyer, become a journalist, become a doctor, and that's how your life will be. As in, we've been trained that's the only way we can be able to make a good life. My friend here, Kimani, I think he didn't even graduate from college, from university. I think he used to be in University of Nairobi. But right now he's able to make an income, and he's doing way better than all the professionals in the ones he studied with in the PR industry. So I think it's about personal commitment and consistency in what you are doing, and in the end you'll be able to make a good income out of what you're doing. Yeah.
And Kimani, I come to you on that note. As much as you have talked about access, the need for making good use of these platforms in order to make gainful economic opportunities, feeling the value of the shilling in your pocket, and diversifying the options for young Kenyans. And cyber attack seems to be also another point of concern, and according to the Communications Authority, it has increased tenfold, and 943 cases were reported in the 3 months to December 2023. The authority attributed this to system vulnerabilities and increased monitoring. What are the safeguards talking about this?
Well, I like talking about things that are so much into my specialty. So that I would leave to Macharia. But let me say this. I've known Macharia. We have been good friends. We have worked on a couple of projects since 2018. That is around 6 years now. I've known Angel. She was 1 year behind me in campus, and I've known her since 2015. And she was a very ambitious, very young, ambitious Kenyan.
I still am.
And she still is. And that was when she was in her early 20s. And now
this is a reunion for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah, and looking at these two individuals, I mean, I've seen them since early 20s. I believe now they're in their late 20s. I'm in my early 30s. Oh, happy birthday to you. Yeah. and there's young Kenyans who are watching this show right now, seeing us here today and thinking these guys were born yesterday. I mean, somebody just seeing Angel and hearing the kind of thing that she's doing and all of us the kind of things that we're doing and thinking, oh, these guys came somewhere from the village last week and now they are on the national television. But like Macharia has mentioned, there's quite a lot of work. I mean, Angel can tell you from back in the university when they were campaigning with Babu Owino for SONU elections and how tough they were and all those things. I mean, I watched them. I used to participate in the university politics during my first and second year. And I can tell you how difficult it is. Looking at him being nominated as an Yala MP, he has done quite a lot of work. And there's somebody who is just in the university or just graduated and thinking now, these opportunities are just up for grabs. And let me tell you the truth. This life suffering is a must. There is a course in suffering. You must suffer. You must really work hard. And there's nothing like privilege. You must go through the most difficult part so that you can be fine-tuned and so that you can be able to reach the level that the people who are in, the young people who are in this conversation today are. So, like Macharia has mentioned, there is the aspect of learning. Then there is the aspect of branding yourself. And then there is the aspect of earning. That is the formula. There is no way you will just believe now the president says go and find your computer and then you will earn some dollars. And then you think, since Kimani said I can go to Ajira and get some search engine optimization skills and be able to, get a client tomorrow. I mean, I do search engine optimization myself. I have a very big portfolio. I have a company. I have 10 employees. And we are seeking the same opportunities. So you go to school today and you want to come and compete with me tomorrow. I have over 10 years experience in this field. I mean, that's how difficult it is. And when I'm doing that, there's another person who has over 30 years experience. Yeah. And you're looking for the same opportunity. So no one owes any youth any opportunity, including the government. It is survival for the fittest. You have to fight for your own space. So you have to ask yourself, how am I going to brand myself so well and be able to know what are my competitive advantages and be able to use that to my advantages to look at the few opportunities that are available to just get a small part of it and be able to build my portfolio and be able to upskill myself, be able to do more and be able to showcase what I've been able to do so that even in the next couple of months or in the next couple of years, I can be able to charge a premium or get a good job for myself. So it's not like you wake up in the morning and you get like bread. Even bread getting nowadays is very difficult. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I'll come to you, Angel. Please proceed. I'll come to you on the question of the report by the Communications Authority on the safeguards and security because of the cyber attacks which have increased 10 times. As much as there are opportunities, where the safeguard lies. Yes, Angel.
Yes, there's a lot on even global deviance, that's what they call it. And we are seeing even parents on our social platforms complaining that there's too much unregulated content that is going into our social apps. And I think that's something our governance system should be able to address, because if you have DCI investigating into such matters, I think it would be much better to strengthen and tighten some of these loopholes. Because even when you look at the femicide killings that we saw a few weeks ago, we can read that one of the conversations that the two had was on a digital dating platform. So these are some of the things that we also need to be very careful about, even when we're dealing with in this digital age. And then the problem about this digital age is that you cannot sometimes institutions foresee some of these problems, they come and that's when you have to deal with them. That's also another thing that we also need to do. We need to strengthen the research system of the digital space to understand that there are some challenges that can come up that we may not really foresee today. I know that this could also happen on social media, or this could happen on the digital platforms. The other thing is I would like to talk about is certification. As the private sector needs to really embrace online certificates, even the government as well, because when you're applying for a job, having an Ajira digital certificate should give you an edge. Even the government of today, as it is asking for members of the public to apply for the different jobs that are advertised, even adding an aspect of saying that having an Ajira digital or having a professional certificate will give you an added advantage is something that will motivate young people to really get into online curriculums and be able to get certified from them and embrace them. So the job market and the private sector needs to appreciate that. The other thing, as we are seeing that there are no jobs available, one thing I want to encourage, especially young women, is to focus on the STEM subjects. There are a lot of opportunities in the STEM subject areas. There's a lot of advocacy going into asking young women to participate, or women to participate in technological advancements and things to do with maths, engineering, and science. So there's a lot of opportunities for young women. There's funding that goes into ensuring that young women can get into STEM subjects, that girls can code, and all these are opportunities for young women to participate in. Even as Edna is talking about things to do with AI, there's a lot of embrace for young women to participate in things to do with AI and so on and so forth. And then the other thing I'd like to say is that if this Kutenga and the Kuhakikisha government can just focus on mainstreaming youth issues in their government, then they'll be able to make a lot of progress in their governance system. Because when you look at Ajira Digital is in the Ministry of ICT. But then there's a National Youth Council, which is in the Ministry of Youth. Then there's NACADA, which is in another ministry. Then there's National Youth Service, which is in another ministry. All that really puts the government at a very difficult situation because every ministry wants to shine with its own projects. But if they are all put together, and that's why we really even pushed for having a National Youth Commission or something similar that will help to crystallize all the government initiatives that are on youth, so that the government can be able to take progress or to track the progress of young people in the country, to know how many young people are enrolled, how many young people are participating, what is the progress of young people. Because monitoring and evaluation is one thing that we need to understand, so that when Mheshimiwa here gives some figures, we don't keep doubting him. We know that we can go on one website and be able to access all that data in one go. Okay, let's now sample the feedback and give you the final word here on the broadcast. This is what you are saying. On X, the hashtag is Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. Chalo Ward Rossi says, earning a living through digital jobs is not easy. It entails a lot and one needed to invest time for it to work. President is playing usual politics to move the crowd. Data security is still an issue that need to be addressed. Agumba Steve says 120,000 youths on digital jobs. Can we publish their names? If it's true, the state is full of propaganda, yet the youths are wading in poverty as their boss is telling them to press buttons and get the dollars. The stability of a nation relies heavily on engaging youths. This unnamed viewer says the online jobs have been spoiled by the Kenya Kwanza government. I used to make 8,000 Kenya shillings monthly on online writing, but since KK took over, I have only earned 980 shillings. KK has destroyed my livelihood. ICT hubs, public Wi-Fi just targets to uplift a few contractors. The hashtag is Daybreak. Sanixon Ndugire says digital jobs has to adhere to some principles, borrowing heavily from already existing ones like marketing and innovation. Otherwise, ignoring online marketing is like opening a business but not telling anyone. Samuel Ward says, many thanks to the office of the President's team and all those who have made me feel so welcoming during my first week on the job. More to come this space as our digital strategy and learning innovation agenda picks up steam. Wamodi says those youth should be a bit honest. Ask them how many freelancing accounts that can make good money are free. Best known accounts are very expensive for normal learned hustler. Free ones are few and far between in a pool of junks accounts and profiles. Esawe says the secret to success in online job lies in mastering a skill and excelling at it. Many young individuals seek fast cash, but it's crucial to sharpen your skills, showcase them effectively on social media, and maintain a clear portfolio.
Agomba Steve says, this is repeated, yes. Elvis _254 says, it's easy to speak on things from a point of privilege. It's essential, he says, to speak on matters being in touch with the whole reality. Deliverable must be seen and felt. The government of Kenya and its agents need to listen to the people, finding solutions without belittling youth's efforts. Wamode again says, those youths should be a bit honest and separative. Ask them how many freelancing accounts can be there. This is a repeated one of the one that we had in Asia. Yes, Honorable Maina Karobi, I'll start with you, the final word here on the broadcast.
Yes, thank you, Ayub, for hosting me. There is a lot to be done. I like the fact that you brought the players in the sector for this discussion. And I'm particularly impressed. In fact, the kind of feedback I'm also receiving privately is that these are clear testaments of
progress made.
Of progress made among the young people. And I want to challenge the people of my generation that we need to get out there. As my good friend Patrick has said, all of us, for us to get to where we are, or to get even to where we want to be, there must be a space or even a period of us getting to learn. We make mistakes, we wake up, and we move on, because the ambition should be the one that is driving our urge to continue working hard. I want to tell the young people the various training programs that are being provided by the private sector, the civil society, like the ones that Edna has raised here, the government. Let us take advantage of this. Of these spaces and these programs that are being provided to us by the private sector and the government, so that we can be able to acquire skills. You know, Ayub, I always say that in 21st century, this is not the century that you can bequeath your descendants land.
Okay.
This is a century where you can only bequeath for you to make economic sense.
Okay.
This is the only century where you can bequeath your children a digital product.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Edna.
Yeah, thank you for having me. The digital space is giving us all an opportunity to fairly compete on the global market. So I'd encourage the youth to take a chance on the digital space.
Okay. Yes, Mashari, briefly.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to leave my other youth on some 5 C's of digital jobs. Number 1 is you choose what you want. Number 2 is you commit. You commit, that means there is no return on investment for the first year. You are just doing it for your future. Then you craft. So this means you identify a mentor and you follow, you copy what they are doing, and then you come up with your own code on how you'll be doing it in a unique way. Then you claim it. This is marketing.
Okay.
And this is where confidence comes in. It doesn't matter the kind of marketing, it's inbound or outbound. Do it, because that's where your future is. And then in the end, that's when the last C, capital. That's when you'll be able to earn capital.
Thank you.
And then be consistent.
Okay, thank you. Yes, briefly, Kimani.
Well, for me, it's really simple. The youth need to know nobody owes them anything. Maybe their parents. But the government, the private sector, nobody owes you a job. It doesn't matter whether you went to the best university in the world. The truth is, the world is truthless. And you have to find ways in which you can make yourself competitive and outwork everyone to be able to earn a place. So if you sit there complaining about, I'm not for or against the government, but if we sit and say Ruto this, Ruto that, I mean, there's nothing he can do. Yes, he runs the government has its own responsibility of providing the infrastructure and making the business environment favorable. But at the end of the day, like the president said, nobody will come home and bring you a job.
Okay.
And nobody has ever been given a job through a court order. I mean, you have to put yourself out there, look out for the opportunities, be the best, and when you get that job, be diligent and offer the best quality service that you can be, so that you can be able to grow and be able to earn that money that you're looking for.
Briefly, Victor.
Thank you, Ayub. Mine is quite simple. To young people, I think that we're growing way too fast and that we want the privileges of the adults with the responsibilities of children. IT is for everybody. Everybody has a space in IT. IT is not all about programming. IT is not only about web designing. There's a space. IT has a space for everybody. Let us look for your niche and get a place where you fit in, and you'll be able to get your space out in the market here.
Yes, Angel.
Ayub, my highlight of the week has been the Law Society of Kenya elections that are coming, and I was excited to see the young men and women who presented their cases to their members for elections. And one thing I'd like to urge the young people of this country is to keep focusing on the governance systems of this country. Let us bequeath ourselves with all the necessary tools that we need, because nobody is coming to save us. We have seen what the Kenya Kwanza government has done to us, and we cannot allow this to happen again. Everything rises and falls on leadership, so let us take keen interest in the matters of the leadership of this nation.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Victor Odhiambo, IT specialist, your time is appreciated. Many thanks. Angel Mbudia is the chairperson of the Jubilee Youth League. Thank you for your time. Honorable Maina Karobia is a UDA member at the South African Legislative Assembly. Thanks for your time. Edna Mwango is a business leader at Innoa AI. Asante sana, your time is appreciated. And Mashari Angatia is an IT specialist, and also Kimani Patrick, the CEO of the Kalistic Group Limited. Your time is all appreciated, and always a privilege to be here for you to share your input. And we, of course, want to thank you again. And Fridays are therefore meant for the young people in this country to voice their views. At the top of the hour, at 9 in an hour's time, it's D-Day for Jackie Maribe and Joey murder trial that will be coming up later after series of other events which had preceded that. It's a death with destiny, according to the papers, with Maribe and Joey to know their fate today. The judgment in the murder case involving the former TV journalist and her ex-fiancé, Joseph Irongo, will be delivered this morning after being postponed on two occasions. The High Court Judge, Grace Nzioka, brought the decision forward after indicating last month that she would deliver the judgment on the 15th of March. We will be giving you the live coverage from the High Court here in the county of Nairobi. And with that, we come to a close, and we thank you for your contributions. The hashtag on X has been Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. Up next is Bensu, and I will see you next week on Wednesday here on the broadcast at the same time. Till then, good morning.